Dawsey. And here's your host, Kendra Dawsey.
Hi, everyone. Hello, Zach. How are you doing today with your beautiful new haircut?
Oh, thank you. I'm doing well. My camera was a little off kilter there, but it looks good now. I'm all right. How was your week hiatus from Left Night?
Oh, it was good. I was in like Western New York. I was briefly in the woods.
Yeah.
I did not get attacked by a racist moose, which I was very happy about. That was one of my fears, being in that area, or a racist deer, even a smaller hooved animal.
Were you afraid that a moose might attack you because the moose is racist, or you were afraid that you would be attacked by a moose and also it would be a racist moose on like sort of insult on top of injury type of thing?
I think more of the first one, or that a racist would somehow engineer a situation where I would be attacked by a moose. I'm not really sure.
Okay.
I wasn't sure, but I wasn't attacked by a moose, so I'm here. I'm doing good.
I mean, if I was a moose, I'd be racist against white people. They're the ones that tend to be fucking your shit up. But,
that's what I would think, yeah. But I haven't pulled moose.
That's true.
This is a very important topic.
So, other than racist moose, what else is on your mind this week?
Well, I'll tell you what's on my mind this week, Zach. Well, in what seems to be an at minimum weekly occurrence, this Monday, when people are supposed to be grilling and watching some things go pew pew in the sky, there was a mass shooting. It's a type of terrible event that you never want to imagine having to deal with. It makes you realize that even though this country is slowly killing you, there is a worse alternative where it kills you quickly. But imagine not only having to deal with a mass shooting, survive a mass shooting, and then when you go to talk about it online, a complete stranger with a blue check mark next to their name gives you a piece of advice. Vote. One of the few pleasures of this world is when some dumbass on Twitter says something so heinous, people from all walks of life unite over dunking on them. This time, Twitter's main character was former HuffPost editor Anne Brenoff, who responded to a tweet featuring the bloody face of a young person at the Highland Park shooting this 4th of July with this. So we'll pull it. There we go. So it says, "I'm sorry this happened to you and to everyone else there. It's awful and these shootings just keep coming at us. Please register to vote if you haven't already. Tell your friends too. Your generation is our last hope." I have not been grazed by a bullet or even shot at, but I feel like if I were, I wouldn't want to hear that. So of course, everyone responded being like, "This is freaking soulless." Now, of course, there's something to say about voting in this country. It's how we get all of our presidents and American idols. So you know that there's some power in it. But as a response to someone who just survived being shot at, it is bad. It's also leveraged in some other situations by more powerful people. For instance, last week, Joe Biden, one of those guys who was voted for, had a press conference, presumably in between his very busy daily schedule, getting his hands stuck in various pickle jars and falling over on bikes. And he made the call for the public to do something about overturning Roe v. Wade. He wants us to vote. Now, eventually, this line has to be questioned. If the president says that, someone who was voted into that position, like, what do you want them to vote to do? Like, get a super president? The Democrats have the majority in Congress and hold a tie-breaking vote in the Senate. And sure, maybe some of those votes are mummies in suits and cursed in cinema, but they're the mummies and cinemas that you told people to vote in. Vote blue no matter who, right? And yeah, I guess there's a filibuster, but the modern filibuster has only existed for 50 years. So it's not like presidents who didn't hold a supermajority have just sat on their thumbs since then. You are in charge. If they filibust you, turn right back around and filibust in their faces. Maybe not that, but like do something. And what is particularly irksome about this type of advocacy is that there's clearly no real follow through in making sure people can vote. Around the country, there are huge issues with voter disenfranchisement. But the people saying go vote aren't necessarily supporting a nationwide bill to make it easier for people to vote. They're not proposing same-day voter registration. They're not necessarily going on mass registration drives. They're not making sure that felons could vote all over the U.S. They're not making sure that there's transportation. They're not supporting a paid time off for all workers to vote. They're just saying go vote. And how about all these seemingly all of these unrelated issues like evictions, which deprive people of their address and therefore move them out of their polling district, or putting candidates on the ballot that are actually good. And then the ruling class has collectively decided that the only form of civic engagement is voting because yelling at them in restaurants makes them uncomfortable. Of course, there's other ways to make change in your community that aren't voting. There are other ways to pressure politicians into doing what you want that aren't voting. They are usually more complicated than go vote. Sometimes you could do those things with a brick and you put those votes, the brick, of course, in a nearby ballot box. But of course, we're not condoning anything illegal on this program. We'll be right back after this. Amazing. Was that what video game was that?
That was Animal Crossing reenacting a scene from Twin Peaks, I believe. I have not played Animal Crossing and I have not watched Twin Peaks, but there's just stuff in my brain that I've just absorbed instead of anything usable or reasonable.
There's stuff in your brain that was put there. Yeah. You and your brain, Zach. So, Zach, things are happening.
Things are happening, and they don't stop. And if you are thinking of anything that happened this week or last week, really, because we weren't here last week, that we got to talk about, please get that in the chat so we can be sure to touch on all the things that are happening. So here's the thing that is happening. Cops are just straight up lying. I mean, that we could start off every things are happening segment with that.
Cops are lying.
Cops are lying.
So the Philadelphia police, I don't know too much about this because you can only research so many mass shootings in a week. But there was a shooting in addition to the one outside of Chicago in Highland Park in a suburb of Chicago. There was one in Philadelphia where I don't think we know that much about it yet, but the cops are already lying about it. And one cop had cased bullet and he was I was shot at. So I don't.
Nobody got shot other than some cops. I believe it's the official story.
Is that? But what actually happened?
So that's the thing, is that the best theory that I've heard on it so far is that some people were firing guns into the air as the fireworks were going off, as Americans are wont to do, and Jamaicans, I guess too, but Americans particularly like the brat brat brat. But so the cops may have gotten hit by some falling bullets that were falling from the air after somebody went brat brat brat. And then they decided to start a mass panic, and people were just reasonably running for their lives because the cops made everybody to believe there was a mass shooter at the thing. And the only injuries that I'm aware of are somebody got a cop got grazed by a bullet, and then the other cop posted the picture this bullet was caught by my hat, and it was just an unfired shell.
They're an unfired bullet.
they're lying about that. In other news, cops are lying in Uvalde still. Apparently it came out that they had the chance to stop the shooter before he went into the school, and then they didn't. And there's more and more evidence that they had multiple ways to get into the building or into the room that they could have broken through, even if the door was locked. And basically they can't say people wouldn't have died if the cops responded, but there's a lot of reports highly insinuating it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Uvalde, is it Uvalde or Uvalde?
I don't know.
That town. It's very sad, and I think like journalists have been kind of targeted by police by just like asking questions, and it's
the woman who saved her kids is moving her family out of the town because the cops won't stop driving by her home.
Yeah, that's creepy and that's bad. Like that.
Yes.
God,
So that'll show you to do a better job than the cops.
Yeah, how dare you care about people, unlike the cops.
We got a chat in the chat say from Pfeiffer say you're forgetting that some dead or retired cop chaplain's picture was in the hat, and they're claiming it was a cop angel that stopped the bullet.
That's fucking dumb. Yeah, I'm trying to read about the
on the other side of ACAB is NCAA. No cops are angels.
I was trying to look up some stuff about the Philly shooting that happened July 4th, but I kept getting results for the Philly shooting that happened June 4th. So that is where our country is now. Yeah. So apparently the person shot 2 officers. That's the Highland Park is sadder. I'm just gonna put it out there.
Right. Yes.
So
where we know, mostly because we know there was a real shooting in Highland Park.
Yes, that's true. But yeah, another thing we didn't talk about is Roe v. Wade is officially overturned. Sucks. I don't know what to say. If you know where Brett Kavanaugh lives, I encourage you to tell him how you feel. But yeah, it's sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, please say what you're gonna say.
Oh, I was gonna say someone I went to college with, who I guess since we graduated has become an anti-choice Catholic. Wrote an article about how she had an ectopic pregnancy, and she went to a Catholic doctor specifically because she was like, I wanted someone that would treat my child like more than a clump of cells. The treatment for ectopic pregnancy, so there's 2. One is that you get an injection that will like kind of reabsorb that embryo, and then the other one is, and I guess this happens if you're like, this is more likely to happen if you're more far along. But the second one is they literally remove your fallopian tube. It sounds like this pregnancy was so early that the baby was like the size of a grain of rice. The embryo was very small. So this woman willingly got surgery to remove a fallopian tube because she's Catholic. She put herself in more pain because she's Catholic. And this is why Yale should be abolished. Basically.
Yeah. A Catholic convert, which, as we've learned recently, are the most sort of unhinged of the Catholic converts, who regularly writes for a Mormon magazine.
She regularly writes for a Mormon magazine?
In her bio, she had Deseret Times, which is a Mormon publication. Deseret is the Mormon name for Utah, which comes from it's a word that means honeybee, I believe, or honey or something like that. But the Mormons believe that they are entitled to more than just Utah. They are also entitled to parts of Idaho and Colorado and Wyoming. and the United States, when they were establishing Utah, was like, no, you have Utah. This is the state you have. And like I believe up until the 90s, the Mormons, in like their official like doctrine and teaching and stuff, like one of their things they like still had a department on like claiming all of Deseret up until like the 90s. But point being, she wrote for Deseret Times as well. So very much, very sort of normal behavior.
Yeah. Mormons are wild. I also can't imagine converting to Catholicism. Like, it's like, let me convert to the church that has had perhaps the worst PR for like 500 years. Like at the beginning, it was like, oh, like Protestants, like Protestants are mad. And then now it's like, oh, like there's a lot of child rape, but you willingly.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I'm Irish and Italian, so I don't have a choice. Like,
exactly.
That's my church. That's the church I like going to. I will say one thing about Catholicism, as opposed to some other branches of Christianity. It does have sort of the chain restaurant thing, where if you go to one, you know what to expect. Whereas other forms of Christianity, you don't know what you're gonna get. It could be very cool and very affirming, or it could be very you don't know what to expect with a lot of other churches.
You're right, and like Catholicism does have the best aesthetic, but I will say you could just be Episcopalian and get all of that aesthetic without the without as much child rape. I think.
Yes, and Catholic social teaching is very interesting, fascinating. Now, do all Catholics follow Catholic social teaching? Certainly not. But there's a lot of interesting stuff in there.
Yeah.
But I think most of the I love when converts say the Pope isn't really Catholic. That's a new thing now that a lot of the Red Scare girl was doing that on Twitter the other day. It's claiming that the Pope is not actually Catholic.
Why? What?
Because he's trying to make a kinder church, because he's a Pope that comes from Latin America, where there's a much more sort of radical history of Catholicism that stands with the poor, as opposed to all of the European popes who have historically not. I don't understand them, but they do exist. All right, this is way too much Catholic talk. Even for me, the Catholic, and this is a lot of Catholic talk. But what's most notable about this, talking about the Roe v. Wade overturning, is that we've done this same episode like a month ago. Like, everybody knew that this was happening.
Yeah.
And they just didn't. I don't know if you saw the thing that like the press aide who, like, that was his job to stay on top of it. Like, the other people in the Biden administration assured him that it was not going to be overturned on Friday. So he was like out getting coffee when he got the notification that it happened.
If Biden were my boss, I would not listen to him.
Yes. Well, speaking of people not listening to their bosses, here's a fun one. Everybody who works for Boris Johnson resigned today. I don't know.
Hey.
There were like 29 MPs that resigned, like a record number of a single day of resignation in the history of Parliament.
Hell yeah.
It's falling apart. And I saw a quote from just how you know that the UK is not a real country. I saw a quote that said, in the case that there's a no confidence and Boris Johnson will not step down, this would activate the Queen.
queen is gonna be released like a kaiju monster, like out of the ocean.
just not a serious country. If the response to a crisis is this will activate the queen.
The queen is gonna turn into a transformer. She's gonna like whirl her head around and turn into like a mecha, and then just attack Boris Johnson.
Right.
Amazing. Yes. I personally love that, but
yes,
it does seem unserious.
It does not seem.
The queen's B cells have been activated.
Yes. Yeah.
The queen's power is over 9,000.
Right. Are we sure they weren't confusing Britain with chess? Listen, they are very similar in that I don't understand either of them, and they're both very.
Chess is cool. No, chess is cool. It was.
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, I know how the pieces move. I do not have a strategic mind for it.
Oh, I'm also bad at strategy, but chess is Iranian, and the queen is not. Chess probably started in modern day Iran.
Yes. Although I don't know if the queen is Iranian or what her but I did last week see a Hotep meme about how the queen is a clone of the original Black Queen.
Why? Hoteps are so weird because they'll want to claim that like things that they want to claim things are black that like it's like why do we want the Queen of England? Why would you
want that at all?
Like, no, she could stay not black. It doesn't make her better if she's black. Like, I don't. Anyway, Hoteps or something else.
Yeah. Oh, and we have some nice emojis of it looks like royalty burning in fire. So, hey.
No comment.
Man, this is. I know I'm usually the Italian on this, but just being able to talking about Catholicism and the royalty being punished is just. This is a really Irish episode for me.
Hell yeah, bro.
Hell yeah.
Roe v. Wade is gone. Definitely support abortion funds. I will not encourage people to break the law, there are some things that are illegal that are dumb.
I'll tell you what, if you want to break the law, it is much easier to break the law when everybody has agreed the law cannot be respected.
Very true. Very true.
Just one other thing I have written here, because we are coming towards the end, and it's really bizarrely under discussed, but the whole Brittany Griner situation.
Yes. Yeah.
Is very. You'd think that. If women's sports were more respected, well, first she wouldn't be playing in an overseas league to end up in this situation to begin with. But also, you'd think that like this shouldn't just like I don't want to say that like anyone's life is worth more than anyone else's, but Biden should not be playing hardball on like what the. Like if the Russians want a spy back, or who wasn't even spying against America, but if the Russians want that guy back, you should just give that guy. You should just like, why are you just letting Brittany Griner like rot in a jail cell because of some like petty? I think it was drug possession or whatever.
Yeah, which like probably is not. It's probably not real.
Yeah.
But it's frustrating, and like there are a lot of people. I think even her wife was like, "Yeah, if this were LeBron James, she would be back." But yeah, women's sports. There's probably a lot of like things. I mean, she's a Black woman. She's a lesbian. Those are people that United States government does not tend to care about. All of those groups.
I mean, yes. I mean, Jimmy Carter, one of the biggest things against him during his presidency was like the Iranian hostages that who were held, and like people held that against him. and there's no similar similar response to the the situation with Brittany Griner. Although on the point you made, the Iranians famously released all of the hostages of color and woman hostages, and only kept the white male Americans, saying that all those people were already held hostage by their own government. So
I should not laugh. I should not. Well, yeah.
I mean, yeah. So but yes, I mean, it does seem clear that if it was a different person in a different situation, there would be, not because Biden. I don't even know if it's necessarily that Biden would care more. It would just be like the media would care much more, to the point where it would become bad press for Biden to not resolve that hostage situation.
Yeah. I'm not really 100. I mean, yeah, I don't know much about sports, but like this is a one sports story that I know. It seems like this would probably be an easy fix in terms of diplomacy if the president stepped in, but he's too busy, falling off by
some ice cream
to vote. Yeah. Or eating ice cream. I do like vanilla ice cream. But I'm not the president of the United States. Anyway, so we have absolutely no time left. Zach, do you have any very quick closing remarks?
I don't know if he's watching, but I want to say happy birthday to my brother, our former co-host of the show, oftentimes fill-in host.
Happy birthday, Logan. Oh, that's so sweet. Look at that. It's adorable. It was my cousin's birthday yesterday, but he doesn't watch. Okay. You should watch. Charles, you should watch.
And it's also George W. Bush's birthday, to which I say, unhappy birthday to you.
Hope you rot in hell, you fucking war criminal. All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Stick around at 9:30 for honorable mentions, and we will see you next week.